Steam has long been an indispensable source of energy in the process industry. Here, 40% of fossil fuels alone are used for the generation of steam. This is why steam system operators prioritize two main goals: the greatest possible operational safety and optimal energy and cost efficiency throughout the entire system. The new ProWorld 200 Vortex meter, developed by Hauser, supports you with these goals. Not only does it ensure precise and comprehensive energy management, it also detects the risk of water hammers thanks to its unique wet steam measurement. But what are the different types of steam, and how can ProWorld 200 measure the steam quality? Let's take a closer look at steam generation. Steam boilers are usually heated by burning fossil fuels. This brings the water to its boiling point, typically to 180 degrees Celsius at 10 bar absolute pressure. If the boiling water is heated further, small but visible water droplets begin to form just above the surface, making up what is known as wet steam. When the heat continues to increase, these water droplets become smaller and smaller. Ultimately, the individual water molecules detach from the droplet surface and the water becomes completely gaseous, turning into invisible, so-called saturated steam. This transformation takes place without an increase in temperature and pressure. All of the energy supplied is now contained in the saturated steam and is known as evaporation heat or latent heat. The dryness fraction of the steam thus determines the energy content directly usable. If, for example, steam is only 90% dry, in other words, contains 10% liquid water or condensate, then its usable energy amounts to only 90% and has therefore less value. Furthermore, the formation of wet steam can also lead to dangerous plug flow water hammers and condensation-induced water hammers. As soon as the steam flows into the pipe, it begins to cool little by little, depending on the condition of the pipe insulation. If the insulation is insufficient, the heat losses can be so great that large amounts of wet steam and thus condensate begin to form. If this water collects in the bottom of the pipe, for example due to insufficient condensate separation, the steam flowing over it at high speed can cause condensate waves to form, which grow in height until they fill the entire cross-section of the pipe. The flowing steam then pushes this wall of condensate forward at high speed. This causes pressure surges, which can lead to loud, hammer-like impacts, and in the worst case, they can cause the pipe to burst. Condensation-induced water hammers are a further problem caused by wet steam. If hot steam hits cooler condensate, the steam can abruptly turn into water, with up to 200 times less volume. The resulting implosion causes pressure surges which are even more dangerous than those caused by plug flow water hammers, in extreme cases up to several hundred bar. ProWorld 200 is unique. It detects wet steam and condensate buildups in the pipe, thus ensuring optimal safety in your steam pipe network. But how does ProWorld 200 actually measure wet steam and the resulting condensate? As a vortex flow meter, ProWorld 200 uses its sensor paddle to measure the flow rate by precisely counting vortices which are generated behind a bluff body. If wet steam forms due to cooling, the condensate gathers in the bottom of the pipe and directly affects the measuring signal generated by the sensor paddle, shown here exaggerated and in slow motion. Consequently, ProWorld 200 can directly measure not only the steam's dryness fraction, but also the corrected actual amount of steam. These measured values, dryness fraction and actual amount of steam, are permanently shown on the device display. If the dryness fraction of the steam falls below a specific freely selectable value, though with a minimum limit of 80%, then ProWorld 200 generates an automatic warning signal. This means you are always aware of the condition of the steam in your pipe, and also able to decide whether specific countermeasures are necessary. This also applies to the so-called superheated steam. Superheated steam occurs when saturated steam is steadily heated further. Since saturated steam is already gaseous and no longer has a liquid phase, this only increases its temperature. Superheated steam is used in particular for the transportation of thermal energy over long distances. This means that the formation of wet steam, despite the continuous cooling in pipelines, often many miles long, can largely be avoided. Here too, ProWorld 200 warns you in time. If the superheated steam falls below the temperature value specified by the device and is close to the saturated steam point, ProWorld 200 immediately indicates this with a warning message. With ProWorld 200, you have the energy and cost efficiency of your steam system well under control. As a multivariable flow meter, ProWorld 200 not only enables you to read values directly from external pressure devices, it also features a temperature sensor and flow computer with stored steam tables which meet internationally accepted standards. All this allows for precise calculations of mass flow and energy flow with a single device. ProWorld 200, your central measurement point for steam. For all applications, we have the right solution. Endress & Hauser, your single source supplier for measuring and control technology.